Thumbnail.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween. You know, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters?
Spooky season.
Yeah.
2 days.
Halloween.
Spooky day.
All right, guys. So we're at the end of October. Halloween is just 2 days away. Today is the 29th. I'm here with my best friend Kathy, who's
Hi.
also a big horror Halloween lover.
Or slut.
Horror sluts. And yeah, we live in Puerto Rico. Halloween is kind of like not as celebrated in this here as it is in the States, but we still get some like Halloween themed parties and all that. There's stuff to do around the season.
For sure.
A lot of like horror movies and TV shows have been coming out lately. We saw
the movie Saw.
we saw Saw a few
couple
weeks
weeks
ago.
ago.
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think Kathy did as well.
It was pretty surprising. I feel like Saw used to be very gruesome and kind of gory in the sense.
I mean,
that,
it was gory, but as compared to the
but
others,
this one was more story driven.
you're
Like
right.
they didn't really focus.
I
too
feel like they're
much
trying to
on the
make
punishments.
John Kramer a little bit more, I guess, grounded in a way. Like try to make you connect with him a
They
little bit more.
definitely tried to make you empathize.
Exactly, that's the word.
Yeah,
Empathize with him a little
with
bit.
the ways that he handled stuff and kind of
Yeah.
made you feel like they deserved what he was doing to
Right.
them.
Because mind you, I mean, all the people he captures are not genuinely good people.
Right.
But this time around in this movie, I felt like they really deserved it. Especially,
Oh yeah.
I forgot her name, the doctor in the movie.
Oh yeah, that prissy bitch.
Yeah, I feel like she really she was kind of like a
She
dick.
was-
She was like she
yeah.
deserved pretty much what she got.
Yeah, for sure.
I
I think she deserved worse.
We don't
to
want
be
to like
honest.
spoil it if you haven't seen it because the movie just came out a few weeks ago. But yeah, definitely check it out if you're a fan. I think compared to like all the other Saw movies, it's like the least
Traumatizing.
gory.
It's the least traumatizing. If you're the type of person who likes, if you ever watched Saw and just felt like you were watching, what was it called? Like gore porn,
Torture porn.
torture porn. Like if that's how you felt, this one's not gonna feel.
It's
anything
not.
like
I mean, it
that.
has its moments, but it's not as like it doesn't
Yeah.
rely so much on the
On
gore
the shock
and the
factor.
shock value.
Yeah.
Like I said, it does have its moments. Doesn't like shy away from like the death scenes or the traps. So if you're a fan of that, like if you do like Saw just for that stuff, you're gonna get that.
And they're pretty interesting traps.
They
It's
are.
definitely not.
Yeah, I like the theme of the traps, and they're pretty creative. Cause like I don't know how many Saw movies are out. I think there's over 10 already, right? 9 or 10.
10 for sure.
10
I think
or-
this one that
was
just came
10.
out
Yeah,
was 10.
however many there are, it's kind of like any other franchise. You have to like how are you gonna step it up from the last film?
Right.
So I feel like
They did
hey,
good.
if you create something I haven't seen, that's already a plus in my book. So I feel like yeah, you get something a little bit different here.
Yeah.
Because nowadays it's kind of hard to like push out new stuff or
Especially
compete if you already done so
yeah.
many of these movies and we've
compete with
seen
yourself at that
yeah
point.
they're competing basically like okay we already done all these traps what else can we do so
Right.
I feel like that was pretty cool that they were still creative with the traps.
I've also started seeing the fall of Usher House.
The Fall of the House of Usher, right?
The House
Yes,
of Usher.
yes.
It's
I just
so
started that.
good.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's an interesting series. If you're thinking about watching it, start it. And this is coming from someone who generally now doesn't really get too shocked or scared with like what's coming out. So I feel like now it's a pretty recycled genre. Like I feel like you keep seeing the same kind of tropes and
right.
the same kind of storytelling. The Fall of the House of Usher is pretty
I
unique
mean,
in its own thing.
I'm a huge fan of Flanagan, the creator. He did Haunting of Hill House,
which also amazing.
That's of all the series he's done for Netflix. I feel like that's
The Haunting
amazing.
of Hill House
I
was
love that series so much.
incredible.
Blind Manor was my
Blind
least
Manor,
favorite. I feel like that's like it tore a lot of people apart. It was just a little bit too slow for me. And not just because of it's a slow pace is bad. It just in that particular moment,
it doesn't fit.
it wasn't
well.
working for me at least. But this one, I just started it recently. I haven't finished it, so
I
no
haven't
spoilers.
finished it either.
It's so
But
good.
it's
It's
so
really
good.
engaging. It's not fast paced at all. It's still slow, but it's really engaging. Like you're really invested in the story and the characters. So yeah, definitely check it out if you're a fan of Flanagan's work, and if you like Haunting on Hill House and Blind Manor, Midnight Mass.
So good.
Definitely check it
Midnight
out.
Mass
Midnight
is
Mass,
another one.
really good one. So
It's a really good one.
yeah, Netflix is putting out some good content. Some hit or misses, but this is definitely one of those shows that you should watch if you are a horror fan or drama, because it's more like
it's
drama,
kind of dramatic. It's
family drama, mystery.
yeah. It's very much
With like sprinkles of like horror. You know, it's horror.
And it's not very much horror in the sense. It's almost psychological horror.
Right.
Like it plays with your mind type of stuff. There's definitely something in there. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It's just a really well thought of series. Like every episode feels so good.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm looking forward to finishing it. Another show I'm obsessed over. I'm watching it with my partner. Is Goosebumps. I don't know if you checked it out yet.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps is so good. I mean, I might be biased because I was at the press party in New York a few weeks ago, which was amazing. They did such a great job.
So good.
Yeah, the pictures are on my social media if you want to check
You
it
should
out.
go. It's great.
It was just like a great time. I feel like the marketing team for the show has been killing it. If you just check their social media, the Goosebumps series accounts, like they're going all out. They have people dressed up as Slappy, like just roaming the city. They're doing all these parties and private events where everything is like Goosebumps themed. And I received screeners for the show before it came out, and now the show is live for everybody. Like you can go on Disney and Hulu to watch it. They release a new episode every Friday. I believe there's 7 episodes out so far, or 8. But it's really good. Like if you're a fan of the old Goosebumps show or the movies, like you're gonna enjoy it. It's so good. It's like I feel like the whole family could watch it. It has its like horror moments. It has its funny moments. It's drama. I really enjoyed it. It's really really good.
Does it still feel like classic Goosebumps that we grew up with?
Yeah, because like I'm a '90s kid, and I did watch Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, all those little shows like that. It has that kind of vibe, but it's also obviously has that modern, Gen Z, right? Gen Z feel to it. But if you're a '90s kid, or you have you know brothers or siblings that are from that era, and I think it's a really great show for people to connect. It's really good. I think it has something for everybody. But I really, really like it. So definitely check it out.
Where?
Disney and Hulu.
Disney and Hulu.
Disney and Hulu for Goosebumps. Yeah.
Man.
So
I feel like Disney and Hulu did a partnership thing, didn't they?
yeah, they have like the bundle. So you
Yeah.
can get the bundle if you want to save up. You can get both streaming services. And yeah, check out Goosebumps. It's really, really good.
Love that.
It's not so scary. Like I mean, it's like a Disney, like a family show, so it's not too scary, but it has its little moments. So I think
it's definitely not for the younger audience, like 13.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like kids, I think if the parents are there, it's probably okay. I used to watch worse stuff when I was a little kid.
Oh, dude, speaking of watching like worse stuff, when I first saw The Exorcist,
the original movie,
yeah, like original, I think I was definitely younger than 10. Dude, the way that I saw that woman in the dark, crazy.
Yeah.
Traumatized.
I feel like that's obviously a movie that traumatized a lot of people. Even the actors. I mean, there's so many stories and rumors about the production of that movie.
Oh yeah, that it was supposedly haunted and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like all these like old 80s, 90s movies, 70s movies, there's always some crazy story saying that the actors were in the
experienced something.
They got haunted on set, or they felt like they were really possessed.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe there's some truth to most of those stories, but also I feel like it was just to hype up the experience.
Oh yeah, it's like when movie theaters are like, oh, people have been passing out when they watch this movie, and then you go and it's just like,
I'm like, I didn't pass out.
It's okay, it's all right.
I was like sold on like getting like tortured in the theater, but nothing happened. But I feel like that's all part of like the
marketing tactic,
exactly, to hype up a film or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Paranormal Activity movies. Do you remember when those started like?
Oh my god, where people were like throwing up and
freaking
stuff.
Freaking out in the theaters.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
they even said that the actual DVD footage, whatever, was haunted. and if you put it in your house or whatever, you're gonna experience the supernatural phenomenon. But
Yeah.
again, it was all marketing, and it worked. It made people go see the movie. The movie like made a lot of money. Speaking of making a lot of money, a recent horror movie that just came out, Five Nights at Freddy's, is doing really, really well. I just checked the numbers and the sales for that. It's doing extremely well.
Good for them.
I'm not a fan of the game. I know of the game.
Blasphemy.
And, and I do like watching like the little YouTube videos of like people like other gamers playing it. I like seeing their reactions. It has some crazy jump scares, and the game is honestly a scary ass game.
It's honestly it's one of these
and
games.
It's such a simple premise too. But
I think it's like one of these games that's considered kind of like a cult classic.
It's definitely, and it has a huge cult following.
It has a huge
even probably not even cult following. It's just a huge following in general.
It's just
and
crazy.
I saw the movie. It's in theaters, but it's also on it's streaming on Peacock.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, if you have Peacock, you can watch it.
I'm actually gonna see it. I didn't know it was streaming on Peacock.
If you don't have the money for the movie theaters and you're already paying for Peacock, you can just watch it for free on Peacock.
Learn something new.
I did like the movie. It's not what I expected, mind you. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I know of the lore per se. I know a little bit about it. I know some of the story and the characters, but I feel like I don't know. I was expecting something else. I feel like the movie could have been shorter, and also at the same time, I wanted more. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they only scratched the surface, but I do think that because of how well it's doing and the money it's making, I feel like there is going to be a sequel.
I think that
it's just a smart thing to do. I think.
I think they pretty much treated the movie the way they treated the game.
Yeah.
Because it's one of these. Well, if you're one of my people, you know that one of the most influential creators in bringing Five Nights at Freddy to the forefront was Markiplier. Markiplier became insanely popular with Five Nights at Freddy's because of his reactions.
He has like lots of reaction videos.
Lots of reaction videos.
He was supposedly gonna be in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think he turned it down because there was like a schedule conflict. Because I think he's also in an upcoming horror movie, and I feel like that he has that as like his priority. So he's not in. Sorry, spoiler, but he's not in Five Nights at Freddy's if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it would have been so. I think his presence would have played more into the whole surprise cameo type of thing, like Jacksepticeye tends to do in some video games. Well, where sometimes you'll just be playing the game and suddenly you bump into Jacksepticeye in game. And
do you feel like like with this trend of like video games coming to movies, it's not there's like a kind of like a bad rep for these like movies based off video games. Like earlier in the day, now with Mario, I feel like that turned around a little bit because Mario was such a big hit. Now you got Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's kind of like a success.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like about video game movies?
I think this kind of topic is really interesting, only because lots of people have tried and failed to make video game into movies, right? So one of the video games.
Sorry to interrupt you. That like to me, that's always like boggled my mind that in a video game you have so much story and meat for a series or for a movie.
To make it into something.
And I'm like, how is it hard to like transfer that into like a TV show or into a movie?
I think it's just a fear of wanting to
please the fans in a way.
I think it's more because people get so attached to the characters and just the story in general. For example, Resident Evil was one of these video games turned movies.
We also saw
the last Resident Evil
that was supposedly
so true to the game.
True to the game.
Loved it.
I enjoyed it too. I know a lot of people did not enjoy it. I enjoyed it.
I don't care what nobody says.
I also enjoyed the other Resident Evil movies.
I did not.
I actually owned them all. Like I have the whole collection.
I was actually very mad. Don't get me wrong. I love the actor who played Leon Kennedy in the last movie. I forgot his name.
Even Joe.
Yes, that guy.
Sorry for pronouncing his name wrong.
I don't know your name. I apologize. But I loved him. I think he's a great actor in general. But I would love to see an original Leon Kennedy. Just this blonde.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know why movies and TV shows are
so determined to change the characters,
their
make them
race
diverse
and their gender just for, I guess, for other actors playing. I get it. That's cool for everyone to have an opportunity.
Make a new character.
But make a new character for them, right? Exactly.
Make them so cool. Make them, you know.
But I feel like if it's an already established character where you have a huge fan base and people already know and are expecting to see that, then when you put out something completely different from what they're expecting, then that's where you get a little bit of backlash and fans are disappointed. But we are fans of the games. We are fans of the movies. Well, I'm a fan of all the movies. And I thought it was pretty good. I felt like this one, the last Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Raccoon City.
Yeah, I feel like it was the closest of all the movies to the game. I had little Easter eggs in there and everything, but again, a lot of people just were torn. I feel like they just had a bad taste in their mouth from the Mila Jovovich movies.
That as well. It's just one of these things where
those are like my favorite. I have all of them.
I don't like them only because I
felt I'm a sucker for like cheesy movies, but
it's more of these things where like I'm not upset at like another zombie movie, right? But you've created like, I mean, Resident Evil 0 is a what console was it again? GameCube. It's a GameCube game. And then it went all the way to PlayStation 2, I think, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then they turned it into like big movies. I'm not upset about the big movies. Just don't call it Resident Evil if you're not going to include the original characters, if you're not going to keep the same storytelling.
With Mila playing Alice, there's like original character in the movies. They did throw in like they had Jill in the first couple movies. Then they had Claire and Chris. But like they freaking just like messed up their whole storyline. But I mean,
I don't know.
I still enjoyed it regardless because at the end of the day, it's the same thing with books. Like when books get turned into movies or TV shows, you have to realize it's two completely different things.
Yeah.
You have your books, fine. You know, your books has the foreground, like the foundation of a project. And then when you see the movie, don't expect to see everything that you've read in the book or you played in the video game.
Harry
you're
Potter
gonna be
was one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Harry
You're gonna
Potter
be disappointed because if you want to like word by word, then what's the point of having it? You know what I'm saying? Like that's why you have your books. That's why you have.
That's why I feel like people are very hesitant in turning video games into movies because people want it to be quite. And I'm one of those people that I want it to be so true to the original that when it comes out and it's not, it's a little disappointing because you're wanting to see this in real life type of stuff, and you're not given that, and so it's just kind of like a. But I also know that budget is a thing, and it's easier to draw something than it is to bring it to life and actually create it from scratch. So, in a way, I'm also not upset about them, but. For example, someone who did amazing in this is the series for The Last of Us.
Yes.
The clickers and everything were so realistic. They were so good. I'm sure like something's changed.
HBO
but
definitely
it was so good.
Yeah.
Good on you, HBO.
HBO definitely handled that IP so well. I mean,
so good.
I've played the games. I adore the games.
So good.
They're so beautiful, scary. I mean, the story. Gameplay, everything about those games, I mean, fantastic.
Gorgeous.
And then when the series was announced a couple years ago, I was like, whoa, they're gonna fuck it up, you know? Like
I think that was everybody's fear.
We're all nervous, but honestly, I think it's one of the best series that's come out based on the video games. Yeah, best adaptations.
Yeah, for sure.
I was a little off about seeing the actors that they picked. I feel like they're perfect.
I feel like Pedro Pascal was definitely the best choice. Oh yeah, for sure. Internet daddy. We love Pedro.
He did such a great job.
He did so good. He's so good.
Like to me, he is Joel. Like,
he's Joel.
Yeah, he definitely owned
so much of his character into the series because there was never a moment where you didn't think Joel wouldn't do this or Joel would do this instead. Like, it was still so true to him that I was just never, like, it never crossed my mind to kind of, like, separate Pedro from Joel.
No, I mean, honestly, they just did a great job.
So
and the whole like the set pieces, the
Mhm.
wardrobe, the acting, the special effects for
The
the
relationship between Elle and
L yeah.
Ellie and
Honestly,
Joe.
I
So good.
pretty sure everyone's pretty much seen the show. If you
Mhm.
haven't, definitely check it out. It's just a great show. It's yeah, it's kind of like it's a zombie show in a way, but it's just so much more than that. It's just a great written drama, great story, you know,
The relationships
suspenseful. I
are
mean, the
amazing.
dynamics between the characters it's
So good.
so good, and
So
it
good.
all came from a video game. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many video games, even books and all that, with such great stories that are just waiting to be told or
And you
waiting
know
to be
what?
adapted. You know?
Yes. And you know which one really surprised me was the one that my god, what's the name of this video game? Um the one that Tom Holland ended up playing in. That was a video
Oh
game
yeah,
adaptation too.
Uncharted,
Uncharted.
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 I didn't. I played the games. I have not seen the movie.
It's interesting. I liked it. Would I say that I felt for it like I did for The Last of Us? No. Would I say that I felt for that I
I heard
felt
it was.
about
I
it?
heard it was good things
It was
about it.
good. It was
I have a
definitely
friend of mine.
good.
Another best friend of mine. He's a fan and he enjoyed the movie a lot. I haven't sat down to
You
watch
should.
it yet. I have played the games, but yeah, I've heard good things about it.
And it's good. Tom Holland did a really great job.
I
I
mean, Tom
think Tom
Holland
Holland
is
is
iconic.
very, yeah.
And it's also cool to see that yes, he's Spider Man, like that's what he's pretty
Hmm.
much known for
Coined
nowadays.
on, yeah.
But it's also cool that he's venturing out, doing other
Yeah.
roles, and
Hmm.
he's not just it's just Spider Man. You know, like he's
Yeah.
doing other things. He just recently did an Apple TV show. I've not seen yet,
Which
but
I have heard that he had to take a break because it was just
it was
so strong for
yeah,
him.
it's a little bit more
Yeah,
darker.
it's
I
definitely one
think
of
it
the
deals with
darkest
like
characters he's
personality.
played.
He's playing like a split
Yeah,
personality type of thing. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's interesting.
So it's become a
He's
little too hard.
also he's a great actor. The first
He
movie
is.
I remember seeing him, he was like 11, I
He
believe.
was a young kid.
The Impossible, which
Yeah.
is was about the tsunami. It's a true story.
Yeah.
Tsunami or her
Uh,
tsunami, right? Yeah,
yeah.
it's about the
It's the one with his
tsunami.
family ended up getting flooded. Like,
Yes,
was
and
yeah,
that movie was freaking
so good.
amazing and so emotional. I cried like a baby watching it. And Tom Holland was so good in that movie. Like he was a kid, so I
He's
was
been
like, this
really
kid's got like a
talented.
bright future. And
Hmm.
like seeing him now, like in Spider Man, he has so many great moments in the
Yeah.
last Spider Man. And I'm like, this kid is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
he's a great actor.
Yeah.
So that's cool that he's
Really
able
happy
to
for him.
like do other projects besides
For sure.
playing Spider Man.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, like there's just so much stuff coming out nowadays.
Hmm.
Lots of content, horror related, drama,
Hmm.
psychological. And I love it. I mean, I'm just trying to see everything I can. It's kind of hard to watch so many stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have anything like besides House of the Follow the House of Usher? Is there anything else that you're like have been watching?
Man,
Did
I'm
you
gonna
catch American
cheat.
Horror Story?
Oh God, every American Horror
Yeah,
Story I've
I
watched.
started
Oh, speaking
watching the
of,
last one, but it wasn't.
it wasn't great.
I stopped
It
watching.
wasn't
I'm
great.
sorry, but
It wasn't great. Evan Peters,
yeah,
incredible actor.
yes,
Every role he's ever given is so dark.
yeah.
I feel
He
so bad for
definitely
that kid.
deserves a break. I believe he did take a break
Yeah,
from.
after Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yeah, he's done so many like crazy
I would
roles
too.
and so disturbing. And mind you, they are acting. It's all
Yeah,
fake or whatever. But I mean, these people are like putting themselves into
I'm
their
gonna cheat.
characters, and I mean, you got to think about like that kind of does stuff to your
Oh,
mind
to
a
the
little bit.
psyche for
Yeah, I
sure,
mean,
for sure. Plus, I mean, it has to have like a big like strength of will to kind of remain separated from this paper, but also give it your all to kind of stay true to. Because I mean, it's one thing to play a made up, fictitious villain who's out to get the world, and it's another thing to bring a human being who did all these
a
terrible
real life
acts
monster and play him.
and play him and be
Yeah,
him, and
because
it's
these
tough.
stories with you know that's a good segue to talk about like all these like true crime movies
Oh my
and
god.
series. People love this stuff. Like it's so crazy how popular these like serial
Zac
killer
Efron.
documentaries and all that.
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, like I feel like they. Why is that? Like, why do people like that? Like,
I think it's more
it's
morbid curiosity. I feel like it's the same reason why if you go on Twitter and you see someone say, "Don't watch this video," it's someone getting,
and
and you click
you
on it and
click
you
it.
view it, and you're
I
just like,
I
"Ugh."
I am guilty of doing that, but at the
Yeah,
same time, it's still I don't know. It's just so weird. Why are we so
humans are just
obsessed
like that.
and curious with like that
I
stuff?
think it's honestly because society has put such a big no behind it
Mm.
that it just
We
feels
urge to see the
almost,
forbidden, you know.
almost.
But
Yeah.
like these cases, there's still victims.
Oh
Families of the
yeah.
victims are still alive nowadays. So I always
Oh
like
yeah.
also wonder about how do they feel like
It must
having
not feel
to
good.
relive.
It must not feel
I'm pretty
good.
sure they don't watch the stuff, but they have to relive it in a way because studios are bringing back buried traumas to entertain because at the end of the day it's still a form of entertainment. You're watching this movie, this documentary, this TV
Yeah.
show,
Yeah. It's kind
and
of twisted, huh?
yeah, and so but you also have to realize that the families of these people who have been
Victims.
murdered or whatever the case may be are alive,
Even the families of the actual
or
killer.
the actual serial
Everybody's
killers
just
or
affected
yeah,
in
so it just
general.
affects everybody and it's just crazy like
Yeah.
how some of us who have nothing to do with it, we just turn it on. It's like, oh, another true crime
Yeah.
documentary.
I feel like it's especially vulnerable. Like it must feel especially vulnerable to the families of the victims, just because sometimes you don't know how true to the character they're going to be. I think that one of the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer, I think the one that got away, they portrayed him in the movie as one way, and then the families, when they saw it,
Yeah, I
were
did see
very
that.
upset.
It's a very sensitive
It's
subject.
just,
I I don't I wouldn't say I am a big fan of like true crime.
mm-hmm. I
Um,
am. I feel like
but
all my girlies relate to
yeah, that's
watching.
also something I've
Yeah.
noticed. A lot of
All my girlies
a lot of my
watch
girlfriends
Death Thing.
they are really into that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why is that? Like, why do girls?
I think it almost like gets us
Especially
prepared
like
to
book
what
talk. Book talk is
book talk.
very into
Okay, no,
that.
but that's different because listen, my
Here we
my
go.
true crime girlies watch true crime because it's almost like this feeling of, first of all, prepares you to for like what to expect out in real life,
Right.
because you kind of watch and you're like, well, now I know not to go jogging with my headphones on, but I feel like it's that morbid curiosity.
I think yeah, it's definitely just more
Yeah,
curiosity.
yeah, I think, but it's
It's
interesting.
the
Women
more
tend to view it more than men, and I've noticed that a
yeah.
lot. Book talk is different. Book talk has this feeling of romanticizing violence and kind of putting it
Yes.
in a way
You
that
know who
it's
you are
sensual and
if you're watching.
no, but like this whole masked men breaking in and being
Right.
rough and like
The whole little like
the same thing,
kidnapper, like oh we're
yeah,
kidnapped,
the
we're tied
same
up,
thing
like
you just saw that murdered this young girl in
yeah,
Pittsburgh is what you're reading and going,
like yeah,
like I love that. It's like, do you were
yeah.
just disgusted.
It's so complicated. And that's such an
Yeah,
interesting.
human beings are just really
Humans
complicated.
are just so interesting and
Yeah,
I feel like people we are a little like messed up. We
yeah,
do like the unknown. We like the
definitely.
forbidden. We like what we shouldn't be liking.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's also part of like just society in general. Doesn't matter what generation you grew up in. I feel like every generation had its own prohibited,
I mean,
desires and indulgences, and
when
the
Teddy
more you
Bundy,
like tie it up, the more when
the
you
more you
finally
tell
get
people to not watch it, the more they
the
want to
more they
watch it.
want it, and the more when the time finally comes, it's just like you're
Yeah,
all in,
yeah.
like so.
I definitely think that this extends way past, because people are saying, oh, it's because of social media and we're making this like very popular and putting it out there. Social media was not a thing back when Ted Bundy was arrested, and he still
Right.
got panties shipped over to him and
Mm-hmm.
love letters and women being like, I'd fuck you if you like,
Right.
like this isn't new. This fetish of, and I feel like women are exposed for this as well. This whole wanting to fix him type of thing, that nurture thing. That's that's also something that just kind of puts us in a weird position when it comes to uh, crime videos and crime talks and
Yeah.
just all this thing.
I remember when I was younger in the States, I used to be obsessed with this show. I forget what it was called, but it was basically like kind of like a Law and Order type of show, like CSI.
Is it
Um,
like Criminal Minds?
no, no, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's called Cold Case,
Oh, Cold
where
Case.
they basically every episode,
Unsolved is also
yeah, they
another
will
one.
take
Yeah.
a case that was never solved, and then they'll start
Yeah.
investigating, and the episode was like basically them solving that case, and it
Cool.
was so good, and I was like so interested in it, and it wasn't like a true crime documentary; it was
Mhm.
more scripted, you know, it
Yeah.
was like dramatized, or whatever. Um, and that was really good, and I was always interested in that, but that doesn't mean that like
That you were like, I want
I'm
that.
gonna do that, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
be some psycho or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like that, it's so complicated that we do like watching this stuff, but that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna act out on it.
No, I think
You know?
I think if anything, we kind of watch it to get rid of that repressed emotion, and then it's just kind of like you
Right.
kind of I don't know. To me, if I'm angry or anything, and I watch and I sit through like a video, a crime video or whatever,
You can feel better.
I'm just kind of like, well, now I know not to butcher someone and like
Right.
throw,
Yeah.
like I'm just kind of like, and some of them really kind of trigger me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Some leave me with like a
Some. This is kind of weird, but I think a lot of people feel how I feel. I like being scared.
yeah.
I like watching scary stuff just to get scared, or what, whether it's
Mhm.
a true crime, a supernatural film, a demonic possession, a slasher. I like getting scared. I've always liked it for some reason. Ever since I was a kid, I think I remember one of the earliest scary movies I remember for me, like a little kid. I remember Scream. I remember Jeepers Creepers.
Mhm.
That's when I was a kid. Like I was not allowed to watch those type of movies, but I would always sneak around and find them. The Leprechaun movies scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. Like Chucky,
Chucky, a
yeah. But
cult
now as an
classic.
adult, Chucky's
Chucky's kind of
hilarious.
funny.
He's funny. He's
Yeah,
hilarious. Like, but
Chucky's
when you're
great.
a kid, that scares you. And like, I liked it. I was like, oh, what's this feeling like? I like the rush and the being
I think it's the
afraid. It's the
adrenaline that
adrenaline,
it gives
obviously.
you.
You know.
Yeah.
Um,
There's this really popular crime, which I'm sure someone who immediately hears me say this will know the name. There's this popular crime in Japan. This girl was known as kind of, well, I think this is another one. One of them was known for being like Hello Kitty because her head was placed in a Hello Kitty
doll.
plushie.
Oh God.
And so when the police went and whatever, and they like broke it up, and like her head was in there. So that's
This is a
interesting.
true story.
No, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Like this is like I was young when this broke news, and I still remember it to this day because I was like, who does that? And apparently she went through like a lot of torture and like stuff. But there's another that's known.
Cue the jump scare. It's like.
There's another girl. Man, I gotta look her up. Say something while I look at this up.
Like say something. Filler time. But yeah. Wait. Speaking of, just reminded me of. I think it's a short film. It's on YouTube.
Junko Furuta. That's her name. Sorry.
Okay, talk about that.
Junko Furuta. So her case is called Concrete Encased High School Girl Murder Case. Because she was found in a barrel full of concrete. And only like chunks of her hair were sticking out. That's the only reason police were even able to find her. And they found her by accident by searching another girl's murder. So apparently, this girl was really pretty. This was when? 1971. Not that long ago, if you really think about it. 1971, right? So she was born 1971, died 1989. So she was a Japanese student, and apparently she was really pretty, very bubbly, very popular, but kind of like stuck to herself in that sense. And one of the gangsters from her class kind of took a liking to her, was like going out with me, and she was like, I'm good, I'll pass. He did not like that. So she got out of work. She was like, we're gonna walk over to her house. Her parents were waiting. And, she's in her bike and whatever, because I think it was her bike. She wasn't walking, she was like riding a bike. And someone was like bothering her or whatever, and then in comes this like gangster and was pretending to help her. They were all in cahoots. And then was like, get on my bike, I'll take you home. She's like, okay, because he's like someone from school. She knows him, so she's just like, well, cool. So she gets in the bike and she like gets abducted, essentially. They hold her hostage in his room. His parents are at the house. They know that, they suspect at least. They just never really do anything about it. Because the kid's tied to the mafia, pretty strong mafia apparently in Japan. Essentially, they beat her, they rape her. I mean, they do a whole bunch of horrible things that you should never do to a human being. And then, as they kind of do this, they take turns. Because, I mean, people from the outside of the gang, people from the gang, like everybody's just coming in to beat this poor girl, and she's just having the worst time of her life. She even tries to call police, and they just kind of dust it to the side. And then in one, she basically was invited to play a game, a board game, for her life, and she beat him, right? So she was supposed to be set free type of stuff. But obviously she did not. I think in one of the beatings she passed away, and they just decided to stuff her in one of the crates. I think she was brutally tortured for 40 days or something like that.
Jesus.
Like, it was insane. Talk about a scary season story.
Yeah, that's very sad and disturbing.
It's terrifying.
Like sometimes, I mean, just even stories like that, like that are actually real. And we see scary movies all the time and shows. When in actuality, like life itself, it's much more fucked up than any movie could ever come up with or TV show.
And we gotta remember, these were kids. These were kids
like
below the age of 18.
Yeah, they're teens.
Like, this is considered one of the worst delinquency in Japan alone. Like, this story broke, and I mean, it got to Puerto Rico. I remember reading this for the first time as a young teenage girl and being like, she's like 4 or 5 years older than me. Like, how does it 40 days? And his parents knew. How do you... Yeah. How strong is that grip that you just don't even report your kid?
That's crazy. And I feel like that's just so sad too, like for stuff like that to happen. It's unfortunate, and yeah, I don't know how to like transition from that. That was like pretty heavy.
It's definitely one of these things where, if we talk about making true crime documentaries and adaptations and bringing a real story to life, it's being conscious that this is the kind of stories that you're bringing to life, where it's someone's
people
trauma.
Have to like relive something.
It's
similar,
hard to stomach.
So what some
do you make of that?
director or writer could be, this will be like a great story or movie.
Exactly.
But you have to think about, this is real life. This happened, and there was consequences. There was parents crying. There was trials. It was on the news.
A nation grieving.
And people grieving. People still grieving.
Yeah.
So you just gotta be also like sensitive to that. So I just think like all in all, just to like kind of like wrap things up for that. On a lighter note, just just enjoy spooky season. Enjoy what you like. Whether it be true crime, slasher films, supernatural dramas.
There's a genre for everybody.
There's a genre for everybody. Enjoy what you enjoy. Just be respectful about it.
Exactly.
And also like educate yourselves as well. Because there's always some truth behind every popular movie, book, video games. There's always
even Texas Chainsaw was inspired by
all those like popular things are all inspired. There's some truth behind all of them. So I just feel like the more we educate ourselves, I think we'll take a little step towards a more better path per se. So enjoy Halloween.
Enjoy spooky season.
Enjoy spooky season. Let us know what you watch. If you watch anything this weekend or for Halloween.
What's your favorite Halloween movie?
What's your favorite
What's your comfort
movie?
food?
Let us know in the comments. Bye.
Bye.